What is up? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. What we have here today for you is nothing short of extra special, because you see, despite Kodak's best efforts to prevent the so-called choppers from getting their hands on the new Kodak Verita film in 35mm and then repurposing it for the use of still photography, there are still a few places out there that you can probably get your hands on it. It's a little bit more expensive than you might want it to be. But that being said, I was able to procure myself a roll of the new Verita 200D from none other than Flic Coffee over in New York. Now, the other place I know of off the top of my head that has some in supply is the Film Wrist Shop, which I'll link down below. I believe they have another drop going out on July 4th. So if you're looking to try some yourself, I believe they're selling it for like $23.49 a roll or something around those areas. But they also have an incredibly limited supply, so you might want to hop on that if you are interested in trying it out. But that being said, I have tried it out. And thanks to my good friends over the Shy Film Lab, I have the results here, and I want to share those with you, because maybe after seeing them you don't want to try it out, or you do, and this could be good evidence to support either one of those feelings. If you're curious what the film looks like in 16mm, I've already covered that in the video that I'll link up here. I encourage you to check that out. Before we finally get into results, I need to make a small note about bracketing. I kind of did a bit of bracketing for this experimentation, which is ostensibly shooting different exposures of the same image just to get a better idea of how the film cooperates under those conditions. Now, the reason I did this is because the Flic Verita 200 film is labeled as Verita 400, I believe it is. Why this is, I asked the guy who canned it, and he just said he liked the contrast, which I thought was a perfectly fine answer, but I did feel as though it was worth exploring to see if it was actually good at 400 or good or better at 200. I did what any person would do, and I adjust the exposure compensation on the Contax RTS to reflect the 400 speed, the 200 speed, and then I believe it'd be like 640 or 800 or somewhere along those lines. There's not huge fluctuations. I think at 200 you're getting a little bit more of a blowout in some of these images, especially in the highlights. Like, it's just the whites are too poppy. There's a bit too much kind of lost. But I feel like with less light it actually performs maybe a little bit better. And that's kind of interesting to me, because I noticed when I was shooting the 16mm film, some of the conditions I shot in were relatively low light. For instance, the indoor fire scene and even the outdoor fire scene, like the lights were a little bit dim, but there was still so much detail retained in the shadow that it was very impressive. Moving on to the next sequence of images, I have the sun kind of coming through the tree, and the way that it was illuminating this branch I thought was rather interesting, and I was curious to see how much would be blown out from the sky versus how much we could kind of hold on to in the shadows, and also still retain a bit of that halation in that hair light, if you will, from the tree branch. I think this is an instance where the more light is actually the better, because there's not really too much detail in the sky to really hold on to, so stopping it down to kind of expose for that color is not necessarily important, and then you're obviously losing the shadows as much as you can. It kind of comes off to this bluish green look. But if the blowout occurs, then you're getting this kind of warmth, this kind of orangish green, which I think is generally more pleasant, and you're getting more detail in the trees themselves. So this was an instance where I feel like more light was better. It just kind of depends on the subject matter. But that being said, I think that the multitude of these images just goes to show this is an incredibly versatile film stock that's able to kind of handle both ends of the spectrum relatively well, which obviously is to be expected from a Kodak motion picture film. So we have a can of Rainier. If you are not familiar, Rainier is a beer that's kind of local to the Pacific Northwest area. Obviously, Mount Rainier up in Washington's very famous, and this is probably about the best beer you can get. And this is another interesting point, because I feel like the 400 speed iteration of this photo is the best. It's the happy medium. Yes, there's a bit of a blowout on the top of the can here, but you're still getting plenty of color and texture in the grass. You're getting a really nice sharp image. It's also, I think, the best composed of all of them. The other ones are a little bit more askew. Here we have a picture of my good buddy Jordan. Yeah, the clarity of this is phenomenal. The skin tones are insane. Like, this is such a natural looking image. There's not really any direct light on his face, so you'd think it'd be kind of shadowed and muddy, but it's still nice and warm. It's vibrant. There's a little bit of grain presence, but it's not too bad. And all the people in the background, they've fallen off, obviously, because I'm pretty good at focusing pictures sometimes. But there's still, like, individual details seen, even though they're not in focus. I like this image a lot, actually. I think this is probably one of my favorites that I took. I think it's very nice. Now, this next image is very impressive to me. It reminds me of that sequence in Blade Runner, where Harrison Ford is kind of punching in on the image and enhancing and punching in on the reflection of things and enhancing, and then of course finally seeing like the little scale from a snake and being able to use that to identify that the replicant is like an exotic dancer. That's kind of what this image makes me think of, because we were following Jordan as we were driving to go get pizza, and the way the sun was kind of hitting his eyes, you could see him looking through the rearview mirror, and I thought I would take a little picture of it. Not really thinking it would turn out at all, but you can actually see the back of his head being illuminated by the sun, and then also just a little glimpse of light hitting his eyes there. That's very impressive to me, because in my experience shooting other cine films repackaged from Kodak, there's something about the quality that just feels to be a little bit lost. There's just something that's kind of missing. There's a sharpness, there's a clarity that's kind of missing. And I will say that there is definitely a heavy presence of grain and texture in a lot of these images, and there's like some little smidges of halation here and there, but for the most part, the quality of the film is phenomenal, and the ability to kind of perceive detail that zoomed in is really impressive and something that should be celebrated. And that about wraps it up for the roll. That was a very quick roll, and again, thank you very much to my good friends over the Shy Film Club for developing those photos for me. Make sure to go check them out on Instagram, tag them in your photos if you want the opportunity to be featured in the Shy Film Club and Shy Film Lab Instagram page. Also, shout outs to Flic for the film. Can't thank him enough for the opportunity to give this a rip. I absolutely love it. I really do love it. I was kind of blown away with the Verita 200D and 16mm, and the 35mm is no exception. I'm always a little bit trepidatious when it comes to motion picture film being recanned into 35, because my experience in the past has been not so great, and then the cost to get it developed a lot of times is fairly steep. But with the replacement of the remjet layer with the AHU layer, means the developing cost has greatly plummeted, and because of that, it's a much more accessible film, despite Kodak's unwillingness to sell it to most people for reasons that definitely make plenty of sense. So that's kind of my opinion on that. Now, there is another kind of floating discussion to be had, which is regarding the new Flic film, Fusion 200. And a lot of people are speculating that that is Lucky C200, or that it is Orwo NC200, or is Verita 200D. And to their credit, Flic Film put out a little video on Instagram kind of going over how it's none of those things. It is a specific film made for Flic Film from a manufacturer that had a few tweaks to produce a result that's going to be completely different than any of the well-known stocks out there. While they did not disclose the name of that manufacturer, I'm going to speculate just a little bit because it's a fun thing to do, but ultimately it doesn't necessarily matter. The Fusion film looks really good, and I'm excited to get my hands on it to try it out, but ultimately I think that it probably is somewhere along the lines of a Kodak Verita. The colors look very reminiscent. There's kind of a bluish feel to it, I think especially at the 200 speed, and obviously there's going to be some tweaks, so it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison, but I think ultimately that's more than likely what it is, given what we know about Flic Film's relationship with Kodak. They're very close. I would suspect that that's more likely than a Lucky especially, but definitely more likely than like a NC200, as I believe that's mostly going to Opticolor. So I would not be surprised if Flic Film is selling some variation of Verita. As mentioned in the Instagram post, and as mentioned in just reality, it is not a one-to-one. This, however, is a one-to-one so far as I could tell, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. There's a lot of versatility in the film. I think it performs very well given any kind of lighting conditions, but I do think that this is hopefully enough scope and scale to give you a better sense of when best to use it. Now, had I thought about it more, I probably would have shot some indoor stuff just to kind of see how it works under those different lighting conditions. But unfortunately, I did not think about it more. So you'll just have to get yourself a roll and find out. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Overall, the film, pretty good. A little bit more expensive than I think I'd like to spend on film. But for the opportunity to give it a try, more than happy to do that. So thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate it as always. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that very much. Also go check out the second channel for a whole host of really quality videos. You won't be disappointed. Thank you again, and I'll catch you on the next one.